You are listening to the Park Flyer Podcast, where we discuss our RC adventures.
Welcome to the Park Flyer Podcast, where we discuss the ups and downs of the new RC Flyer. Join your hosts, Michael and Jay, as they take flight at the park. Now on with the show.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Park Flyer Podcast. I'm Michael from Arizona, and with me always is my good friend
Jay from the hills of Texas.
And we are missing AK Mike. We are at the Arizona Electric Festival 2022. It is Friday morning, and it is Brisk.
Dude, I think you did that wrong. It was supposed to be the Arctic Fest.
The Arctic Fest, there you go.
The Arctic Electric Fest 2000, this year being held in Apache Junction,
2020.
Arizona.
It's actually in Mesa. Yeah, so first of all, we have kind of an announcement. We missed it last podcast 2 weeks ago because Jay, in infinite wisdom for the first time in 7 years or so that you've been doing this, decided on a whim to drive out instead of fly out.
I did.
Yeah. So during the time what we normally would do, put the podcast together, Jay was driving halfway across the country to come out and spend some time with me in Arizona. And it was exciting. You brought a couple of airplanes to fly.
I did. I brought my L-39 and my Fun Cub and a few wings.
There you go. And you actually, we came to the field yesterday to get kind of set up, and you actually got to fly your L-39 off of pavement for the first time.
It didn't know what to do.
I noticed.
It did not know what to do. It was a little like, what is this?
It was like free.
I don't bump and jump and scatter through the fields.
The funny part was how long it rolled. Jay used up the whole runway trying to get it stopped. That was new for you.
Yep.
And,
that was definitely different.
And the little bit more bouncy on the runway. You got to kind of slow it down. I think your approach speed was just slightly fast because you're used to flying into grass, and that kind of got this one rolling down the runway pretty quick. So, but you did a good job. It was kind of a great flight. It was the first time that you and I have been able to fly off a pavement together, because when I brought mine down to you, we flew off the grass together.
Right.
But the pavement, we did like a little formation takeoff and kind of chased each other around. It was pretty fun. Got to fly the A10, so that was kind of exciting. We put that one together. It sounds really good, flies real well, and we did kind of formation with your L-39 and the A10.
Yep, and then you broke out a plane out of the pass, so to speak.
I did.
You blew the dust off.
Blew the dust off of one of the airplanes. So they're getting all set up. I broke out the Pitts Python, the actual one that you gave me.
Yeah.
So
yep.
There. So. Well, it looks like they're getting started. Everybody, Shannon Gallagher is with us. We've got Horizon Hobbies here. We've got the Gary's Desert Dogs, we've had over there, and the coffee ladies here as well. So it's good for us because it's a chilly morning here.
Yeah, I was ready to say we're the bonfire people.
Yeah,
I don't see their little tent here anywhere.
Yeah, and the wind's kind of picked up. You can probably
kind of picked up. I like, folks. You don't know it. It was a little breezy last night.
Yeah, it was a little breezy.
Woke us up, and we had to come out here and chase a few planes around the tarmac. And unfortunately, a few got damaged. And our stuff fared fine.
Ours is pretty heavy, and we kind of moved it, but there were a couple of really lightweight airplanes.
No, they were wafer thin.
Yeah, they were wafer thin. But
those were all made out of foam. They were a bunch of Depron planes.
That's correct.
And he put them out in the middle. It's funny, but it's not funny.
Yeah, it's not
if you know what I
really
mean.
Funny, but
it's just that. Of all the nights or all the days and the type of plane, the lightest ones to stick out there. And when those winds came up, it just grabbed him and just, doom, like slammed him on the ground in a pile.
I know. I felt bad. He came in this morning and grabbed it, and we'll won't say any names to protect the innocent, but he grabbed him, and hopefully he'll get them repaired.
Yeah, they weren't. Honestly, they weren't that bad.
No, there's a couple of hanger
There's
bones.
some breaks and cracks, but hey, it's Depron. He should be able to get them all fixed by tonight
he will.
and have him back out here today.
Yeah, he will. But let's see, what else? Superstition Hobbies showed up, so we got that. The pilots are starting to slowly unload. The Horizon guys brought the new G650, corporate jet, so I'm excited to see how that's going to fly. Well, we were talking about the Pitts Python.
Oh, yeah, the Pitts Python.
So
yeah, there you go.
Going back to that.
Beautiful bird.
Yeah, so that was one of those gifts. We were trying to talk about it yesterday. It was a Nitro Planes kit that Jay had gotten a great deal on. And there was something that happened between us that you decided, hey, I really need to get this guy a Christmas gift. And it showed up for Christmas because I remember it being under the Christmas tree. And then Christmas Day, I opened the box, and it was this Pitts Python. And that was the one. I think we had an episode of it, several years back, because I've owned it for many, many years. And I turned it into that Scandinavian Air Show Pitts Python look.
It looks pretty good, too.
So we put the actual 3-bladed prop instead of the 2. I actually made the cowling, the intake on the cowling is actually functional. So we changed that. Put all the
stickers.
Air Show stickers and everything on.
Oh, that's right. We talked about Cali when you.
Yes, that's correct.
That's right. We had an episode we were talking about going to Cali to get to get all your stickers and.
Yeah, I'd sent a message to her, and she kind of gave her what I was looking for because the actual airplane flies in an air show, or it did at some point, and so I wanted it to to kind of look exactly like that. And it was painted yellow and black. But it hasn't flown in years. I had to kind of dust it off. The now that we're in the new shop, we were able to unbox a couple of things, and this one had kind of sat on the shelf for a little bit. We were a little nervous flying it because it is a beautiful airplane, and I didn't want anything to happen to it. And the wind was just right yesterday at about sunset, and we kind of.
We were the only ones out here too, so that was nice.
That was. Somehow everybody kind of ran home for dinner or whatever, and Jay and I were the only ones standing on the field. I was like, well, heck, let's go fly.
They left us in charge.
Wow.
Woohoo.
But it flew okay. It's I think
but it had that typical, you haven't flown it in a while, and it had a few rattles and creaks and sounds where you're like, is that a good sound? Is that a normal sound? Right. Do I remember what it sounded like before?
I don't.
So we had had one flight, brought it down. Mike and I were both looking at the plane going, is it leaning to the left? Is that just the way the sun's gleaming off of the finish?
Yeah.
No, it's leaning. Something's up.
Something wasn't right.
So the gear had to be tightened up.
Yeah, the right landing, I guess it's the right landing gear. The right landing gear, the bolts had kind of rattled loose.
Yeah.
And so the gear was all tilted to one side. When I landed it, it kind of just finally, caught up to itself with those things. And so I brought it back to the bench and realized that a couple of the wing bolts and they were loose. So that goes down to the safety thing, right? Is that you should always pre-flight, which I thought I pre-flighted everything. But the one thing that I can admit that I didn't do is, landing gear is one of those things I always, landing gear bolts I always put blue Loctite on.
Right. Well, and this thing's been sitting up, like I said, sitting in the shelf. It's been moved.
Yeah,
it's been in the storage for a year, getting moved several times around.
True.
So, it's just one of those things. Just things get kind of loose.
That's
you
true.
think, it was fine when you put it in there,
right.
But after 3 moves,
exactly.
Things get a little loose.
Well, so we tightened all those back up. We went and flew it again, and it flew really, really well. I think this airplane's designed – that's one of the other things I didn't do is write down on the inside of the airplane what batteries it uses. But I have, for my jets, I have a bunch of 5,000 milliamp 6 cells, and so I threw one of those in there because I knew it was a 6-cell battery. But I think it's probably meant to fly more on
3,300.
3,300, I think, is what it was designed for. That would have made it a little lighter because I did notice when I was flying it that it was a little slightly nose heavy. It does have, a gyro in it because most of my airplanes fly with, gyros. But it flew really nice. It landed really nice. It had a good sound. It looked great in the air. That's the big thing. It just looked good. But it's kind of funny that I've flown. So to be honest, I've been flying I was telling him that I haven't flown this airplane in a few years.
Right.
And some of the other airplanes I haven't flown. Like my L-39 I haven't flown in a couple of months. But instead, I've been flying turbines. And so when I went out there, Jay was like, "Hey, I got to warm up on the Zaggy before I go fly. Just get my fingers warm." And
on the Tough Wing.
On the Tough Wing, sorry. So he went to go fly on the Tough Wing, and then he got the jet out. Well, I just jumped right on the jet, went out there, and I said, "Holy smokes, this thing is so slow." Because I'm used to flying these turbines, that are 199.99 miles an hour. That are a lot faster, and the L-39 turbine that I fly is, considerably faster. Everything, kind of happens a little bit quicker. So when I went and flew this Pitts Python, I threw the low rates in there, and the low rates weren't doing much for a 3D airplane. I was like, why is this airplane not doing anything?
It's just flying straight.
Yeah, and I realized that the low rates are more of a jet setting than a 3D setting. So I finally found the switch and flipped it over and got it to actually do some stuff. So, but it looks good. I really enjoyed flying all the airplanes we brought out. We actually went and flew a couple of night flights. I flew the cracked yak and was flying out there. The wind started to pick up a little bit. My eyes got blurry, and I got a shiver. And
yeah, the shiver got you.
And I was like, "Oh, it's cold," because I was wearing shorts and a t-shirt.
It was crazy, folks.
The temperature just dropped when that wind picked up, and I shivered a little bit. My hand slipped off the little stick, and unfortunately that airplane's a little twitchy, so in the wind it just bit the ground because I was flying pretty low to the ground. And broke the prop, and kind of cracked the nose. So I had to come to a repair on that one late last night and glued it all back together. So hopefully tonight the wind will die down a little bit. We can fly that. And then you worked on your Cub, the Amazing Fun Cub. This airplane has been with us for many years, and has been through pretty much everything, right? Snow, water.
Yep.
Arizona desert now. It's been in Alaska, Texas. It actually has towed a glider.
Yep.
We did I think there was an episode on when we what was that glider that we had?
The Gentle Lady.
Gentle Lady, yeah. We actually that was an experiment. We didn't know it would work or not, and we're hoping not to crash two airplanes.
That's true.
But it seemed to work, and so yeah, this airplane's been with you quite a while. It's got lights.
Mm-hmm. That's why I brought it, so I could fly at night.
Yeah,
night flight.
The night flight. And but unfortunately, last night when he finally got, or actually you found in the shop, that was the one that you brought out in the shop and we're working on, and you found a problem.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, when you abuse an airplane for so long, you may come up with a few things. Well,
yeah.
I just noticed the last couple of times I flew it that I was getting a weird noise or a vibration, and it turned out that the shaft was bent,
right,
ever so slightly. And so, when you started to get on the RPMs, it would just start making a little funny rattle. And so I looked through Mike's junk box and found a motor that would be comparable.
Wait, that was in my junk box?
Yeah.
He found a hacker motor in my jump box. That's crazy.
Yeah, it is. So I swapped the motors out, and
technically,
and then I went ahead and I got everything rewired back in, and the motor mount put back on. After I had to figure out how to get to it, that type of thing.
Yeah.
So anyway, got it all back together, and took it out just before it was still daylight. I was just gonna pre-flight it and get it made and pre-made and whatever, remade. And unfortunately, I went to taxi it, and I barely went a foot, and the plane came to an abrupt stop.
Mm-hmm.
And what was happening was that there was so much tow out in the landing gear that when it drove the this kind of has a wires, wire. What would we call that? Not a wire brace or a wire
it's
landing
just
gear. Wire landing gear. Yeah. So when you went to roll it, or the tow out would cause the gear to go wider and wider, and then grip more and more to the ground to where it would actually slow and stop the plane.
Right. Yeah.
So
it put so much pressure on the actual wire where it bends to go through the axle.
Yeah.
So the wheels would start bending, and then the plastic and the metal would bind, and then the brakes. It would work like brakes.
It worked like a brake. Yeah.
Yeah.
but you only went a foot.
Right.
You
So it wasn't good for slowing down.
Yeah. So I
It
had
would
to
have
go,
been an exciting landing. Once
yeah,
you
like carrier landing.
That's it. It would have been the world's shortest stall landing. You touch down right to the nose.
Because Mike's like, well, if the gear's not working right, just chuck it. And I'm like, yeah, no.
I did say that. I was like, we can always hand launch it. Go fly it. He's like, yeah, I'm going to fix these. So you spent, I don't know, an hour trying to get that landing gear figured out.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you need to replace the gear. They just had a whole lifetime of abuse, so they just need to be replaced.
Right.
But Mike and I rebent them and wired them, and then I got some springs and not springs. I got some rubber bands. I had some rubber bands to stop it from bowing out, and kind of jerry rigged that all together. And just like I said last night, before the winds kicked up, I got it to where now it works. It can taxi. And Mike's like, "Oh yeah, well go ahead and take it off." And I'm like, "Yeah, no, dude, it's the middle of the night, and you want me to take it off?" And yeah,
it's not like you did some airframe repairs. You basically changed everything but the wings.
Yeah, that's true. But being that it's nighttime, I'm like, yeah, I don't think I need any more challenges to go fly in the middle of the night when flying at night has its own challenge and. On top of a plane that I have no idea what it's going to do when it goes in the air. Theoretically, it should fly straight and level.
You know what? I've done night maidens before.
Yes, and we know how those have worked out.
No, it worked out great.
So
we did Big Mike's maiden in there. So, well, we already have. We've had a couple airplanes in the air. I flew the L-39 this morning.
You opened the event.
I did.
Today.
I opened the event with the maiden flight for this morning, and then we now have had 2 or 3 airplanes in the air. We're just waiting for everybody to get kind of settled in and for a pilot meeting to start. So it is pretty early in the morning, and I'm excited about the Horizon Hobbies guys. They brought out the OV-10 to go fly.
Yep, that should be fun.
Their new airplane. I've actually seen it fly. A friend of mine, Tony Quist, he's part of their group, and he had one out at our field, and he maidened it, and it's amazing. It's a big airplane, really big. It flies really slow. It looks really good in the air, and if you have a van, I suggest you get one. If you have anything less than that,
when you buy the plane, you get a car. You get a car. You get a car.
Yeah, if you have a trailer, you should probably get one too. But if you're just driving around in your Prius, you probably
this is not a
not a plane.
You're not going to throw it in the back seat and just go with it.
Yeah, no, it's pretty big. So I'm excited though to see it. They had 2 of them at the Winter Warbirds and flew formation with them, and they looked really, really good. I think there's a video of it online somewhere. Other than that, it looks like we've got some Twin Otters out there. We've got a couple of the Tucana. That's it looks like a mini version of Big Blue, from the Big Mike days. So I think that belongs to Matt Ventura. So we'll see how that flies. And I haven't really walked the flight line to see what else we got.
Well, there's not much out there, buddy.
Yeah, people are putting airplanes together.
People are just getting out and they're huddling and they're lighting small fires. So
yeah, the donuts are still here, so we might take a break and go get some of those. But we're excited this year to get started. We do have to kind of excuse AK Mike. He was at the airport in Dallas and was actually getting on the airplane to come out. We were kind of making arrangements to go pick him up when he arrived, and unfortunately, I don't know what it is. You got out just in time, but last time you showed up, there was a snowpocalypse in Texas, and now this year I think there is another one. So
no, it's the ice apocalypse.
Ice apocalypse.
That's right.
The ice snow or no snow, dusting of snow, but serious ice.
Icing.
And so a lot of the airlines cancel their flights. And so, unfortunately, the next flight in is after the event is over.
Yep.
So we lost Mike.
Well, the funny part is Mike's luggage may show up.
Yeah, we might have his airplanes to fly if it does show up. So we'll see. Yeah, that was kind of weird. He called me and asked me that, but they were saying that they were going to still take his luggage to Arizona. He's like, "Well, I don't need my luggage there on Sunday. The event's over." So
and I'm here right now, and I'm canceling my flight,
right,
so I'm going home.
That's funny.
Well, you have to pick it up after it goes to Arizona.
Well, folks, you can't see us right now, but we're going to tell you that there's a little Pitts flying. It's one of the E-Flight pits, and He's just coming in for a landing with a really stiff wind and almost going to do it, and he does it. That is excellent. For being a really small airplane with that stiff wind, he did a really good job bringing it in. So that's pretty exciting. But anyway, back to Mike. He, he was pretty sad that he was looking forward to coming, I think. And what was the reason you said? Because he brought the tail to.
Oh, that's right. He actually brought the tail to the night walrus.
Yeah, for the night walrus, we were going to go fly that because I brought mine, and he's brought his last 2 years and forgot the tail section. So I actually brought the tail section for him this year, and he's like, "Nope, no need. I brought it," and then his flight got canceled.
Yep.
So Jay blamed it on the tail. Said next time he has to leave it because the last 2 times he was able to make it. But that's kind of funny. So. Well, how about we go grab a hot drink to warm us up and see if we can round up.
And huddle for warmth.
Yeah. See if we can round up.
I might have to use some of my Alaskan survival skills trying to kick in.
I was wearing shorts yesterday. Everybody called me the
insane,
walrus.
Folks.
He's like, "You're the walrus, man." I'm like, "What?" I had flip-flops and shorts and like a light jacket on, and he's over here all bundled up like he's in Arizona. I mean, like he's in Alaska. So
because I have good sense, folks.
Well, there you go. Well, let's see if we can go round up Mr. Gallagher and see if we can grab him to start off the event before the pilot meeting, and we'll grab something warm to drink, and we'll be right back. Well, we're back with the Park Flyer Podcast. We rounded up Shannon Gallagher, the president of the club and the contest director this year. Welcome. It's always a pleasure to have you on the Park Flyer Podcast.
And it is such a thrill for me. You have no idea.
Well, that's
I look forward to it every year.
Every year those guys come over here and drag me over to interview.
They drag me over there. What the heck? I got things to do.
We're
I'm
just
busy.
commenting that this is our 7th year here, and that's pretty exciting. But this is a big year for you as well, or?
Yeah, it's the 18th, so we're legal.
Good way to put it.
We can vote now. So go to war if we need to. So we'll send the whole club to war.
Vote.
The whole division.
So you're voting yourself back in as a. And
there we go. Oh no, not that. Well, that's another story.
Well, I have to admit that last time we talked, you were traveling to California, and that was a long trip for you. You were going out to get some shirts, I think.
Yeah, picked up some shirts for the jet rally, and that was a huge success. We had a great jet rally, and it was we had like 80 pilots. It was crazy. Yeah, jets in the air all the time, and not that major carnage. I think we only had like a crash like on Sunday, like a major crash. Everything else was like just bit landing gear or something, but. Sunday, it was like there was just some bad movement.
Whoa, that was a crash. He got a Cessna 150 out flying, and he's doing a good job, I have to admit. But it's a little dicey with the wind out there. So the wind is supposed to die down later on today, I think, right? Or
yeah, just not at the second, apparently.
Not at the second.
You know, this is the one thing that. I have no control over. Yeah. I'm glad it's not raining. You know, that's a huge thing. That always really puts a dampener on the event. But the wind's a little rough. We had one of our vendors, his tent kind of crumbled, and we had one of our regular attendees, Barrett Hawkhouse, some of his planes got a little damage overnight, but thank you guys for.
I guess the cat's out of the bag now. We were trying to.
We appreciate that. Yeah. Well, but you guys did
we had security and plane watch last night. Yeah, it was fun. we don't mind it. No, that wasn't.
I heard gunshots out here. Was that you?
No, that was over there. So, well, let's see. We got we mentioned it before, but Horizons out here, Superstition Hobbies. Looks like your vendors are out and.
Yeah, we got Paul Stenberg, Zap House of Balsa. He's one of our longest. He's been with us from the very beginning. And Superstition Hobbies, they've really upped their game. They've got they've got 3 really nice tents, and they always put up a really nice display. We've got Eric from 3D Aero Ventures is on his way here. He should be here momentarily. Well, hopefully today at some point. And then we've got who else we got down there? Oh, Wild Blue RC is a new entry, and they're getting ready to roll out. There was a company back in the day. I say back in the day, like the 90s. Top Gun aircraft. They made some really nice fiberglass warbird jets and things like that, and they're going to start reissuing those under the Wild Blue RC moniker. So looking forward to that. He's got pilots, like little pilot bus and stuff that he's going to have for the show today. But trying to think who else. My daughter is part of the ASU robotics team, and for her senior year, she's getting ready for their competition. They're going to have a booth. They're actually have one of the robots out. People can actually drive. They're going to let people drive it. And there's a little fundraiser for me. This is I think I can squeeze you guys.
I know someone that can get you in.
I know a guy. And then e-Power, all the great electrical connections that you need. They're back in full swing. And just Horizon more as a display, but they really supported us when it comes to pilot raffle. I'm sure we'll talk more about that later, but they really come through this year. So I thank Ali and James and Tony for really stepping it up this year. They really made a big difference. So I want to thank them. And then we've got Gary's Hot Dogs. Gary's like a staple of our hobby, or our field here, and he has some great hot dogs. We also have habanero soft tacos is coming tomorrow, I think. And we're going to have an ice cream truck a little bit later today. I don't know how that's going to work. Hopefully they're selling hot chocolate, too.
That's funny. Jay was in Alaska, and we were up there one time, and it was, colder than cold. And the Dairy Queen had line all the way out the door.
There's a line out the door.
Ice cream is one of those things that it doesn't matter. Everybody loves ice cream. So.
Yeah. And then MF Copy, Katie, is back. She was injured at another event, and she's kind of pushing through. So with the help of her family and
we're
friends,
excited to have them back as well.
Support them. Yeah. So I think that's the rundown as far. And we have some other. We have one of our local club members. They kind of do a little
there you go.
swap shop down there.
Very
so
cool.
They always have some good deals, but. And then Function Graphics provided the event shirts once again.
There you go.
My good friend Eddie.
And then let's see. Take us through the agenda. We got a pilots meeting coming up here shortly, and then
we'll do a quick little pilots meeting, and then I doubt we're going to have any heli time today.
Somebody wants to fly a heli today.
Wants to fly. I'll give him a chance. I'll go going once, going twice. It's going to be like Barrett
we're
Jackson.
All behind the fence.
Oh,
I'm going to stand behind the chain link fence when the helicopter.
Yeah,
something like that. Just know which direction we have to go out to the desert to go get it.
Yeah,
as it gets blown.
So Friday is just pretty much wide open flying. I'm sure a couple. Once the wind dies down, we'll get some gaggles going of different planes. But tomorrow, that's the big deal. We'll definitely have a couple of heli times. I know John Serio, he does like our demo during the noon show, which is he's in the noon show, and between all of our scheduled events for that, we've got gaggles of World War II jets, weather permitting, the micro UMX planes. Those are always fun. Combat, gotta love the combat.
There you go.
Get some carnage there. We'll have pretty sure we're gonna have Tony and. Ollie from Horizon, they have the giant OB-10 Broncos, and they're going to be doing a little demo with those, and among other things. So that'll be exciting. And trying to think who else. I'm sure we'll have some other demos here. Oh, Eric.
Yeah, he's got some really cool. He's got a new one, I think, out. Hopefully, he's going to bring it. He called me not too long ago. He's he told me he'd be out here. He's going to hang out with us, and we're excited.
Yeah. The other cool thing that's happening tomorrow is another club, the Southern Arizona Glider and Electric Club, SAGE, kind of fits with the Southwest. They're coming up here because a bunch of those guys they're like, hey, we're coming up for AEF, but we want to do something kind of cool. And they're like, we have connections at Flight Test, and we'll get a bunch of those little Chuck gliders.
Oh, that's kind of neat.
So we'll get some tents set up here whenever they show up, and then we'll be doing that. Tomorrow on Saturday, We'll see how many people can actually come out for it. We've been pushing online. Hey,
come on out. Yeah.
Free for the kids, kind of thing. Yeah, come on out. So hopefully the wind doesn't deter that. And so that's a nice little kind of fun thing that they offered to do. And
might as well.
Come up here anyway. And,
that is neat.
They offered, yeah. So I think that's to me, I consider that definitely a partner, sponsor, a part of it too. So big thanks to them. And then we have our pizza party for our pilots and vendors. We hadn't done that for last year because of COVID, but this year I think we're good. And then we have the night fly, which is ever popular. And I'm excited about that. I've got my
psychedelic glider.
I got my flying disco ball.
His epileptic seizure.
His epileptic seizure machine.
but I have the 3D Aerobenches landing gear on, which is even cooler.
There you go. That's right.
Yeah, I love that, man. And when I put those on there,
it makes a huge difference. You do touch and goes with the glider, which is kind of weird. But
yeah, well, and no. It doesn't affect the flight at all. It didn't make no difference. I was so he's like, oh,
he did a good job designing those. And he sold a lot of them too, man. He's like,
well, I told him, I'm like, make sure you have a bunch of those printed up because there's guys here with those Night Radiant, and they'll buy them up. So
we're excited having Eric on the show later on today, I'm sure. But he's a great guy.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
Got to put a shout out to our California guys. That's we were talking last night when we got here. Shannon was helping put some stuff together, and we're missing kind of a staple this year, Mike Calloway. He kind of hit us pretty hard, too, because we were fully expecting. He usually comes on Thursdays, and we get set up, and it's usually just the four of us, him and Harry, and then the three of us. But it seems kind of quiet without him, and I'm missing that big 14-foot Cessna that's sits out.
Yeah. Well, I just miss Mike because I'm getting a little teary right now because he's a big teddy bear. Yeah. He's a fun guy. He's having an exciting life. I mean, his career in law enforcement, the stories he's told us. But he's just got such a big heart. I mean, the last time I saw him, I went to an event in California, and we pitted together, me and Mike and Harry, and we just had a blast, and just hanging out, and I really just miss that. But
that's
Mike
true. He would, and
sure.
He is.
He's watching us.
We did a special podcast 1 or 2 ago where we kind of got together and reminisced and talked about some of the funny stories that the three of us have had with him here at the field. So shout out to him and his family and the guys out in California. We know it was. But we're going to press on and have a good time in his memory.
Yeah.
And we're looking forward to all the Are there any new airplanes? I saw that I mentioned earlier that Horizon Hobby had brought the G650, but and the new OV10s. But was there anything from any other vendors that we know of?
I'm trying to think if there's. I know there's. So Banana Hobby actually will have a presence out here. They provided some great airplanes for our pilot raffle. Some really nice ARFs in the box. Their entry in the corporate jet also. A couple of the pilots have those. There's two that are very similar. One's motion. One's Banana Hobby. Yeah, it was the little F-14, the kind of mini F-14. They'll be flying that. It's got the swing wing and everything on it. It's kind of cool. Just a little one, but it's fun. Cool. They were flying the heck out of that. And then I'm trying to think what else as far as new airplanes. I think just with with COVID, things just supply chain slowed down. A lot of the new stuff just hasn't been kind of coming out. As we haven't seen a new jet from Motion for a while, and just things change, and there's another event in Arizona, more geared towards the 3D guys. So some of our usual people went to that one instead, which is good. The more power to it.
Yeah, it was a little off for you this year because you had to change, your new staple of trying to get it in the second week.
Yeah,
you had to move to the first
Super Bowl and Waste Management Phoenix Open are next weekend.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to compete with
it.
Those are multi-million-dollar events versus your $1 million event.
Yeah. Yeah, my $1 million event. You mean my $150?
Thanks to all the people that donated.
Okay, maybe a hundo.
I'm probably sure it's more than that, but it's always a great event.
Yeah, not much.
Now I happened to look at the weather report, and it's going to be maybe in the 60s this weekend, and that week that you normally have it's supposed to be the 70s, almost to the 80s. is what's in 1 week's time. It's going to go from this to where we're, having to build igloos to, go back to the shorts.
Yeah.
And I have heat stroke type of thing.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. You live here long enough, you see all the different. I lived here my whole life, so there's just these little gaps of when the weather is normally like things. And
well, I told Jay congratulations. He's actually now been through an Arizona winter today.
Yeah.
I told him, I said, it's winter when I have to put my pants on. This is the blizzard of 2022 right here, man.
The blizzard.
Yeah, exactly. The temperature dropped just below. It's
a southwester.
Yeah, I told him. He's like, wow, it's cold here. I was like, it won't be tomorrow. Summer's next weekend, so and it'll start out.
Yeah.
Well, we're getting excited for this event. We're going to get back out on the line. I think there's a couple guys flying out there now. We've got several pilots and
everyone's starting to gather. I mean, people are checking in for registration and selling shirts, and
we
all
probably
the
need to
getting
register
set up.
too.
So I'm excited.
But we're excited, and we're going to let you get back to work and hopefully get it.
All right. Well, thanks again.
We're excited. So we'll probably.
I'm shaking. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
I'm shaking. I'm so excited. Do you see my hand?
We're going to go stand in the sun.
Wow. I can't control myself, folks.
Yeah.
He's convulsing.
The shivering just going through.
Now
shiver me timbers.
This was cool. You guys didn't see that because you kind of had your back to it. But I watched the what is that? The E-Flight Viper. So the E-Flight Viper, they put the ESC in it that has the reverse. So the wind is probably 10 miles an hour down the runway, maybe a little more. And he just came in, and as the wheels touched the ground, he hit reversed and literally stopped within the wingspan of that airplane. So that was pretty cool. And then he backed it into the spot, so that was even better. That was even more fun. So anyway, Tony's pushing his OV10 out, so that'll be a pair of those.
Have a pair of
those. Let's get back out on the flight line, grab some coffee, and thanks again.
All right, guys.
We'll touch base with you towards the end of this event and kind of get a recap. But let's go have a good time. All righty, we'll be back.
Let's do it. Thanks, guys. Bye.
Back.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Park Flyer Podcast. There's been a break in the weather, and we actually got to come out and take our parkas off and actually get a chance to enjoy what's supposed to be the finest of Arizona. It was nice and sunny out the whole time. It was just in a deep freeze, and my fingers thawed out, and I'm sitting here next to Ali, and we were watching them fly these wonderful aircraft. I mean, I'm just amazed at the new stuff coming out. And he was gracious enough to give us a few minutes to talk about the planes that he's going to be flying, the program he's going to be flying tomorrow at the noon show, and anything else he wants to talk about.
First of all, Ali's you're a test pilot or a team pilot for Horizon Hobbies.
Actually, the team manager. So,
team manager. There you go. Okay.
It's, field marketing manager. They call
there
it.
you go.
So awesome.
So Horizon Hobbies showed up this year, and you guys brought some new equipment and new airplanes. I think that's the Bronco, the OV10. That just came out. You guys have a pair of those, and tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, so it's my first year at Arizona Electric Festival. My first year as team manager. I've been at Horizon now for 6 years. Originally as a product developer, so primarily on the Hangar 9 department. I did an E-Flight aeroplane, which was the Cirrus, and I help out the E-Flight team quite a bit. December, my role changed into the field marketing, which is basically running of the 100-strong air team that we have that are around the US. With that, submitted my list of events that I wanted to attend in 2022, and last year I did for the first time the Winter Warbirds at Tony's Field.
Yep, Tony's Field. Yep.
And I straight away penned that in. I really wanted to do it. And then somebody at work said, have you ever checked out the Arizona Electric Festival? And I'm like, no. And started looking at it. I was like, it's a decent-sized event. It's a shame it doesn't tie in with, sure enough, it's the following week. So, I managed to stay the week in Arizona and turn up here, and with that in mind, packed accordingly. So we have a bunch of new airplanes. The OV10 is relatively new. It's been out for about a year now, but we have the 90mm Viper. We have the Hangar 9 Pits. We have the Viper SS. We have the new Hangar 9, E-Flight F14. The much anticipated F14 UMX. That's here. I didn't fly it today yet, but I might get a flight in tonight.
Maybe tomorrow.
Yeah, really.
It's kind of windy to fly that UMX airplane.
Yeah, we've had less than ideal weather today.
Yeah, we have.
But I'm fortunate, like I say, to do this is my job. Work with the team guys. We have here today. We have Tony Quist, local guy, John Gerhard, local guy, right. Tim Dickey, local guy, James Lashmit, which is one of our ambassadors who's come from California, and myself here. So this is what we do. We attend events. We show the new products. We try to get public interaction. So I've done a couple of what I call try me flights on the OV, which is buddy boxing and getting people stick time on the OV10 and the Viper jet. So
awesome. I'll sign up for that.
Please do, yeah, by all means. I'd love to. The more the merrier. We did 10 different people at Winter Warbirds last weekend, so if I can beat 10 for Arizona Electric Festival, I'll be happy.
All right, well, you can count me down for 2 or 3 of those. So there you go.
I like that.
Yeah, we actually we used to be, way back in the day, Jay and I were test pilots for GWS.
Okay.
So when they had new product, they would come out, ship to the U.S., and would do a little fly and market and that kind of thing, and then send all that stuff back to them. So we've been doing it a long time. The podcast is kind of a labor of love for us, and we've loved the Horizon hobby stuff as well. I've got a couple UMX under the table I'd love to go fly as well.
Yeah, see behind us.
Yeah, but it's always nice to have you guys, and welcome, because this is, unfortunately, today is a little windy, and I think a lot of people probably knew it, but tomorrow should be a really big day, and we've seen this entire ramp just covered in airplanes, and I think you'll be excited. So, let's see. Tell us a little bit about the pits, because we saw you guys find that, and that's a pretty amazing little airplane.
Yeah, it's the Hangar 9 third scale pits. Like I said, I was a product developer for Hangar 9. That actually wasn't my product. It was my work colleague, Gary Wright, who anyone who's been in electric will know that name, right. the founder of the E3D. He's a close colleague of mine. And, yeah, he developed the pits primarily for gas, 60cc gas.
Nice.
But with all of the stuff that we do in particularly Hangar 9, we want to have it as multifaceted so it can take different power plants. Sure. Yeah, Gary being spreadsheet, as I call him, Mr. Electric at work. So yeah, he straight away ran the formulas and numbers, and he did an electric one for himself and for the product as well. And it's been surprising how many people chose electric on such a big airplane. I mean, there's a rimfire 65cc running 12S 5 to 7,000s. I prefer the 7s. And yeah, it still takes me back how many people do actually choose to go with the big electric power setups for the convenience and smooth and quiet and clean power. So.
Well, there's a lot less cleanup, obviously, and you don't have to haul around fuel. So it's always fun. You can charge your battery right here. You got to go somewhere else to get gas. So
Yep. And you get that instant power.
Yeah. Smooth as well. I mean, the OV is the same. The OV10, that's gas and electric, and that was my project. And I have a gas one at home. It's probably flown twice in the last 2 years, compared to the electric one, which is well over 500 flights. I mean, it's so convenient, it's so easy, especially doing this try-me stuff. Just put 4 packs in, which is a lot, I know, but it's still rather charge and maintain 4 packs than 2 gas engines, starting them, cleaning them. And I'm a die-hard old-school modeler. I've done it all my life, so it's 40-plus years. So I come from an internal combustion background. But my goodness, the OV on electric is just a joy.
So imagine if, like you said, if you had the gas ones today, and it was, not that it was freezing cold, but it was cold.
It was freezing cold.
Well, I'm probably from Alaska, so I have a different scale of reference. But
it was a little different.
But what I'm saying is, a gas engine on a cold day like today, you guys, one would have started, and the other one would have went plup, 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 plup. You would have been, cursing it out. You get the other one started, and then the other one, got cold, and you wouldn't have that ease of just
it was not
change
much
packs
fun.
And go.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And on a cool day like today, the batteries stay cooler too, so you probably get a little bit longer out of them. They don't heat up as much. So, but now, did this product originate, the OV10? Did it originate from Hangar 9? Because I know that there are some. If you search OV10 online, you can see that there's a Hangar 9. It looks very similar to this one. Was this a new product?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the inspiration came For me, selfishly, I was already settled in the Hangar 9 role for about 3 or 4 years, and it was just at that stage where I wouldn't say they were giving me free rein, but they were saying, right, because I spend a lot of time out in the field, and my bosses, which are, when I say they, it's my bosses, it's a whole team at Horizon, said, right, what do you think we need? And I pitched to them that we were missing a segment, which was the twin segment, and I wouldn't say they gave me total free hand, but they were like, okay, what do you suggest? And I broke it down to 2 possible candidates, which was a Shrike Commander or the OV-10. And I did the whole tick box thing, and the OV won, basically. It's just like a really ideally suited platform for model use, between its long straight wing, thick section, decent tail moment arm, trailing link, tall undercarriage, boxy fuselage, so it was like I was running out of reasons not to. And there had been a couple of OV-10s on the market, and at the time a company in Germany, Pichler, had an 1800mm one, which I was looking at as an ARF, and I didn't obviously want to go and compete with that. And I looked at the segment and went, hold on, the upper end is not serviced. So that's where the size came from. I originally built it around 2 20cc gas engines, and it soon became apparent that for our customers' expectations, it would have to go to 30cc. And the development rolled on from there, and there was a slight interesting story halfway through development where it was supposed to be 90-inch wingspan, but a conversation between our vendor and myself led to them committing themselves to build a bigger airplane for no more money. And I was like,
that's how I think, score.
And I said, right, send it. Let's make it 108-inch. And I went back to one of our executive meetings with it assembled, and I hadn't adjusted the paperwork. It still said 90-inch. And my boss, who's a long-time RCist, was looking at the paperwork, and he's looking at me, and he's looking at the airplane, and I know what's coming. I'm like, oh no. And he's like, the meeting went through, it got approved, it got green lighted, and he came to me at the end of it. He says, is that 90-inch? And I was like, before you kill me, no, it's not, but it's not costing us any more money. So that's how it ended up as such a big beast of an airplane. So.
Well, I think if it was any smaller, it would lose its charm. I mean, I just love the size. It's just that the presence of it. The low and slow over here was just phenomenal. It just slows down. You could almost walk faster than that thing was flying.
Yeah, stall speed's about, on a day like today, it's about 16 miles an hour. So
that's crazy.
It's 44 pounds. I can't remember the wing area numbers. That's a Gary Wright one. But I know the span, and it flies crazy light. And
I was pretty amazed at its inverted capabilities too. I mean, that was crazy. I was looking at your flights, going, "Wow, that thing should not be doing that."
I'd love to say that years of experience built into some amazing design ability factored that in, but it was a total accident. It's not even got a fully symmetrical wing. So when I was doing the testing, I started doing the inverted stuff. I was like, it flies better than I thought. And then I started with the high alpha inverted. Just as part of our testing, we try and put the aircraft through the most unthought of, uncomfortable situations we can, just to see. We want to make sure, that it's not going to depart and blank the fin and end up, flat spinning into the ground. So customers don't find that out. And I got higher and higher in the angle of attack inverted, and lower in height and in confidence. And it gets to a stage now where inverted Harrier is better than it does upright, and you can come past almost like a 3D airplane. So, and there's always the whole, and I got it today, and I know when I'm doing it right is when somebody goes, "That's not very scale." And I'm like, nailed it.
Yeah, that's exactly right. That's funny because I said that while we were standing here. I was like, I don't even think the real one does that. Not even close.
Not intentionally, it doesn't.
An interesting story as well. Whilst we're on the OV-10, I've had 2 cases in the last 2 weeks and 3 in total in travelling around with the OV in the last year where I've been at events flying, and people who have been attending, RC modelers, are ex-OV-10 operators. So
no kidding.
Last weekend at Winter Warbirds, a gentleman named Frank Kelly actually bought a Hangar 9 OV-10, modified it considerably, shortened the nose, repainted the whole airplane to represent the one that he flew out in Southeast Asia. And then yesterday, flying it here, a local club member, Milo, came up and started talking to me. And he didn't drop the bomb straight away that he was an ex-OV10 driver. We were talking, and he knew a lot about the airplane. I was like, oh, wow, you're pretty familiar with the OV10. He's like, yeah, I did a year in them before I moved on to... I was like, you did what? And he popped out his phone, and he's got pictures of him in Southeast Asia doing forward air command stuff. And for me, it's just like a massive rush to meet people who have done, I thought my job was cool. These guys are like 10 notches above my job. But to do that in an airplane like that. So one of my goals tomorrow is actually to get Milo flying that model. So, that would be
excellent.
That would be fun. You say he flew it RC version and the real version.
Exactly.
That's it.
Yeah.
So, well, it's a beautiful airplane. We love the paint job, and it kind of gives a shout out to the Marine version versus the other unknown forces.
Oh my!
He's ex-Air Force.
I gathered there was something in there. So yeah.
But it flies wonderful. It looks good. I would love to take it for
please both of you. Yeah,
anyone.
Excellent. It's on wireless buddy box, and it's the easiest plane I have to fly here. So have at it.
Well, I tell you what. One thing I really really liked was the steep approach that you did, and then kicked it into reverse. And just stopped that thing, and then almost just boop out of the air.
Yeah,
that was awesome.
Was that accidental as well, or that you guys programmed it that way to do it that way?
It was accidental in the sense that the ESC technology developed after the airplane. Right. I didn't develop the airplane knowing that we had reverse, but just as the airplane was coming out to release point, we had developed the avian ESCs, and to a point where the reverse systems were working really well. We'd started off on small foamies and built them up, and it suddenly became apparent. And in my head, it's always cooking ideas up, especially when an airplane's released, and I'm like,
what can I do with this?
Yeah, pretty much. So, it took a bit of programming. Actually, an electronic engineer in England, Simon Wood, he developed the software built into hardware that allowed twin. We'd done singles, ESCs, and single reverse. It's easy. I went to our electronic engineers, and it's like, I'm going to make it reverse twin. And they're like, no, you're not. This is me, my electronic engineering knowledge is like tiny, and then no, you're not. And they started going, the SRXL port can't split 2 channels, and I was asleep by this point. So all I knew is I went away from this meeting gutted that I couldn't do it. And I knew of a gentleman in England before I left. He was developing really cool software for Spectrum and other radios, but utilizing what we call the SRXL port. And I reached out to him and I was like, Simon, what do you think the chances are? And he's like, I did it already. I was like, sorry? He said, I did it a while ago. He said, do you want one? I was like,
late to the party.
Pretty much. And he hit me with like the $50 price for this unit. I was like, really?
Yeah.
And I said, I'll try it. I'll give it a go. I went back to my software engineers or Horizon software engineers and told them, and they were like, very skeptical is probably the politest way to put it.
Sure.
Jammed in this little box, set it up as I would do a single. Perfect. Works really good. And that allows me to do like the tactical approaches, I call them, which is like full, probably 85-degree descents where I feather into reverse and apply about half power just to give some aerodynamic braking, and then on touchdown I'll slam it full throttle. And whilst we don't have variable pitch props, so we don't have like a massive draft, it's still enough to back the airplane up. So.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, we saw that going on today with the Viper as well. The backing everything into place. It was really impressive.
And what's really impressive, because that plane is quiet.
Yeah.
It is quiet. I mean, you guys flew by and somebody said, "Oh, look at that thing flying." I'm like, "What? Oh, man!" I'm thinking a little plane, and I'm like, "It's not making a noise." And then all of a sudden, I'm like, "Whoa!"
I call it the Gary Wright system. Gary, go back to spreadsheet. Yeah, he has a very, very adapted skill set to getting the most out of electric power systems without making it sound like it.
Right.
I always know, what I call a Gary system is that it produces effortless power. And when I put a power system together, the thing sounds like it's going to shake bolts out. Usually puffs the battery, and and then Gary comes along and says, "Oh, just change this, change that," and it's like it drops half the RPM, but produces twice as much power.
That's
He
crazy.
set the OV10 up for me. He said, like, our Power 180 will swing a big prop. If you're cautious on the throttle, it won't draw big amps. So, yeah, that's what we have there. And it really sort of, comes into play. And you, as you say, it doesn't sound like it's producing until you hit reverse. Then it sounds like it's going to blow up.
Right, yeah. Now, the frame is a plywood, or is it okay? So it's a plywood type, balsa, carbon, any of that in there?
No exotics. There's a little bit of fiberglass on the cowlings. There's some plastic molded parts in like the sidewinders and the drop tank when I have it. But predominantly it's plywood, light ply. There's some balsa in there, but most of it is light ply. The sheeting is balsa. Structurally, it's a light ply variant with lots of holes cut in it.
Wow, to make it even lighter.
And then it's covered in a vinyl, a heat-treated, textured vinyl, which is laser printed. So all of the panel lines, rivets, all the scale details are actually baked into the finish. A lot of people ask, how did you do the weathering? I was like,
comes like that in a sheet.
Like that.
When I joined Hangar 9, one of my mission statements was I didn't want to produce another warbird in Ultracoat. For me, it's like sacrilege. It's like shiny warbirds, an oxymoron sort of thing.
Right.
So, worked with this particular factory. We did two 20cc airplanes, the P-47 and the P-51. Started with a silver P-47 and worked. We put in the panel lines on, and I always told them that my goal is to have a weathered airplane. And the vendors weathered. They didn't understand what weathered is. We, over the P-47 and particularly the P-51, learnt a lot with laser printing small black dots to get that sort of shaded look of dirt and so forth, and then change the colours up. And they bought a new printer which was capable of doing really small dots, and that's where we got to the OV10, where it looks like an in-service and battered Marines airplane. So not a shiny, clean Air Force one.
There you go.
So, well, run us a little bit through the Viper.
Okay.
Because that's a new product for you guys as well, right? And
Yep.
it's just out, and it's been amazing. You guys are doing some really crazy things with the 90mm Viper.
Yeah, I'm going to go out on a limb here, and I've done it a few times, and I get pulled on it. But for me, it is what it is. It's the best EDF ever made, in my humble opinion.
There you go.
Yeah, it's.
We'll coach you on that.
Yeah, please do. And I've had to defend that a few times. Somebody pulled out a picture of me with like a $4,000 BVM Electra, and I'm like, admittedly, but bake into it that I factor in the price as well. Price, durability, practicality. It comes out the box. I mean, the Viper I'm flying here today came out the box and was flying 15 minutes later.
Yeah, somebody actually mentioned that.
Somebody mentioned that. They were talking about that they bought that plane specifically. That's what hooked them on it. Because they watched somebody else, do something. They were doing something. They pulled the plane out of the box. They just bought it. That's
what he said. He goes, he went over to talk to him about it, and you pulled one out. 15 minutes later, out walking to the line. He's like, okay, I'll take
boop,
one.
Boop, boop, boop. Hello, yes.
Yeah, no, Superstition Hobbies had one. I walked past there this morning, and I said to the guys, I said, look, if you know of anyone who wants a Viper, there's a hobby shop that has one, and that's unicorn stuff. They've been back ordered since the day we released them. But yeah, the product. A lot of people think it's just the blown-up version of our 70mm Viper, which was originally an FMS Viper, one of the vendors we work closely with a new colour scheme. You couldn't be further from the truth. We started with that. The first version was a blown-up FMS Viper. And it was good, but not as good as we as a team wanted it. So it got reassigned to a different product developer. And the irony of it is we have, I think, about 6 to 7 product developers on the air team, and we'll have our sort of specialist sectors. As I said, keep mentioning Gary, but anything electric goes Gary's way.
Right.
The big stuff generally ends up in my court. We have a guy who's very much into the jets, and we have a couple of others who are generic PDs, who are long-time RCists, but they don't have a specialist area. Anyway, the Viper project ended up with one of the non-specialists. Almost zero jet experience. I think I'd given him his first turbine flight on one of my jets that year. Wow. So it was like, okay, are we sure we want to give our biggest, highest profile EDF, sport EDF to Kevin Berner? And it went to him. And yeah, he pulled it out out of the back. I mean, he absolutely nailed it. He's an old school RC modeler, so he knows RC, he knows flight. And he went and redid the whole airplane. Redid the wing section, redid the control surfaces, redid the rigging angles, and got rid of the cheater holes that the original had, which we're all looking at going, oh, it's brave. Yeah. But, it goes to show that a true modeler, a true guy that's aero orientated, what they can do. And the Viper has been that for me. It's like so many boxes ticked. Speed, we're talking about 120, 130 mile an hour out the box, 172 miles an hour clocked on GPS in destruction testing when I was doing, death dive in a headwind, which for lumbar foam, that's pretty impressive.
That is impressive.
Big control surfaces, so it will do all the crazy negative snaps. It will do that inverted Harrier like the OV will do, and then it slows down with the big underhinged flaps that sort of extend to give more wing area. It will slow down to, I wouldn't say a walking pace, but for big EDF standards.
Right. No, that was pretty impressive. As a matter of fact, I mentioned to Jay that I said, look how slow that one is, because normally the Vipers are incredibly fast. You slow them down, they start getting snap over. But that one, I couldn't believe it. It was real. You just did some slow rollers around. I was like, wow, that's pretty impressive to be such a big.
Especially when they're growing around cactus out there.
Yeah, there's a cactus out there.
Sure, you're a pilot on it, so I tend to notice those things.
Yeah. But Kevin did a great job on that, on the aero, and the whole power system. It all came together on that aeroplane, and that's why I throw that pretty bold statement out there, and I'll stand by it. And there'll always be one of those in my hangar. Right. I've actually just converted one to a turbine. Which,
really?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to flying when I can see the ground again in Illinois. Yeah. Should have been converted to turbine with skis. But, it's one of those planes that I could
New project.
That's right.
We did actually last year as the video channel that I run, which is on the fly. We did the 70mm version of that. Oh, all right. But on floats.
On floats.
Yeah, so that was great off snow.
That's perfect.
But it's been really good. I mean, we're just catching up to back orders now. Yesterday I was told that March will be the first delivery we have of those, where back orders will be cleared and they'll finally be hitting store shelves. So
wow, that's impressive. Yeah. Well, I have to say that I've always enjoyed. I have several Hangar 9 airplanes in my stable.
Thank you.
I have the 93-inch Hangar 9 Cub that came out many, many years ago. That thing has been so much fun to fly. I put big Tundra tires on it. I fly it all over the place.
Awesome.
So it's always been, a fabulous product. You guys have done a great job. We're excited to hear that you're, kind of heading the team and looking forward to new products that are coming out. So
always.
Obviously this one's for this year, but and I know you probably can't divulge anything, but there's new stuff coming on the horizon. You think you got some ideas in your head that may come our way eventually?
We have about 25 airplanes on the QuickBase, which is our computer system list right now, being worked on at any one moment. And that's constantly evolving, revolving. So, when one releases, we'll put another one on. So, our PDs are very, very active, especially on the E-Flight segment. That's our biggest segment in terms of volume of sales and projects. So, we have some cool stuff. I'd love to be able to tell you about all of it, but
we understand.
We've done this for many, almost 8 years now, almost, and so that we've interviewed a lot of guys that you're kind of like, come on, tell us. We know they can't.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
But it's just one of those things for us. It's after COVID, everybody's chomping at the bit.
What's going on?
I haven't touched the foam.
And it's true. Even most of the vendors out there just haven't. We've either lost them, or they just haven't developed anything new because of the factories have been shut down or what have you. So I think it's just a matter of, everybody's kind of going, okay, well, now that we're getting out of this, or, starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel.
That's why I had such a big smile on my face. I went, ooh, something new. Something new. Salivating a little bit.
Yeah, we do. We have 2 new releases this month already that I know about, and I'm pretty lax on keeping up with our new releases. So I know it's multiple releases every month in 2022.
Oh, good.
Nice.
Well, we're looking
That's
forward
what
to
I
that.
like to hear.
Yeah, I do too. So, well, we know you're busy. We appreciate you taking the opportunity to sit with us. I know it's kind of the end of the day for us on Friday, but watching you just sit back here and watching you fly, you do an amazing job.
Thank you.
Love to watch you fly. And thank you so much for joining us here on the Park Flyer Podcast.
Absolutely.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Total pleasure. It's been good.
All right. Let's get back out on the flight line.
Thanks, guys.
Well, thank you very much.
Thanks.
Well, back to the Park Flyer Podcast. Welcome, everybody. We're just finishing up Friday. It's been a good day. It's windy as all get out today.
Yeah. Hey, Mike. Can you move a little closer? Because I'm a little cold. So just get a little closer to me. I don't mind that we get. You're a good friend of mine. So that's
chilly.
perfect. Okay.
It's a little chilly. You feeling better there,
whew, folks?
It is a little chilly, and everybody's kind of calling it a night, I think, early. So a couple of last airplanes in the air, and once they get down, I think the sun going down is a little chilly. But we got a sunlight flight on the L39 and the E10, so that all worked.
Yeah, that was pretty nice.
And we actually got to fly the Python as well, so that worked out. And,
for the most part, yeah. It looks like we still got a few tweaks on it, but
looking forward to tomorrow.
Yeah,
see what's going on.
Yeah.
So. But, all right, folks. Well, from the Electric Festival here in Arizona, this is Michael.
And this is Jay. Jay.
All right, we'll see you tomorrow.
You have been listening to the Park Flyer Podcast. Thank you for joining us, and we look forward to your next visit. Please give our show a star rating and review, and feel free to email us your questions, topics, or suggestions to parkflyerpodcast@gmail.com.